Hey boys, welcome back to some more Nrl Supercoach preseason discussions, and in this video we're going to be diving into the jam-packed second row forward discussion. I mean, you know, it's obviously going to be a big one. You have 6 spots to fill, like the center wing. Actually, you have 7, but yeah, the second row, I don't know yet. I do like to ramble. That's a fact. I do like to ramble quite a bit, so I might split this section up into 2 parts, depending how we're going. If we're like halfway through and it's like 40 plus minutes, then I'll split it up. But if we get through, it might be one video. I'm just letting you guys know off the rip. But let's get into it. I mean, the first thing straight away, as everybody who has looked at pricing, and if you've watched any other discussions or any content at all, I think everyone knows the second rowers. It's value city. There are a lot of very good mid-range price players, but let's go through the top echelon first. So Dave Fafita tops off there, 830,000. Tino at 800k. We won't talk about Tino. We're talking about him in the front row, and I mean, simply put, if you're going to go with Tino, just put him as a front rower. I think in this scenario for sure. For Feeder though, now I got to be honest. I think Fafita without doubt is going to be the best second rower again this year. Obviously pending injuries and that sort of thing, but you know, fully fit, or at least majority fit for the year, he will be the most expensive, the highest point scorer, the best average second row forward. But do you pay up for Fafita to start the year? Now, usually, as I've talked about, and as I'm leaning towards this year, paying up is definitely, well, there's two circumstances, right? Paying up for, let's say, Payne Haas, 750k. Now, obviously, again, it's a little bit cheaper than Fafita, but Payne Haas, you'd say, doesn't really have the ceiling, you know? He'll get 70. He'll get 70 to 80 pretty easily. And obviously, if he scores a try or something, he will crack a ton, potentially. Get that 90 plus to 100. But he's not a guy that's going to go 110, 120 plus. If we're being frank. Now, Fafita, on the other hand, he is a guy that he has that. I mean, last year he showed he had the base, he had the work rate, and then obviously he's got the attack. So those 70s that he can get very easily, scores a couple of tries, that's 100 plus very, very easily for Fafita. So Fafita is a guy that, yeah, if you're gonna spend up, he is the guy with the ceiling. But the factor is that he did have that pectoral injury from last year. I think, well, there's no obviously word yet, but I think he's tracking to play for round 1. It looks likely that he'll play round 1, but the Titans have a bye in round 2. Personally, I don't think I'm going to go near Fafita to start the year. Just for the injury concern, they have a bye. I think it is in round 2. It screams of Fafita potentially starting a little slow, which, granted, he could come out week 1 and get 120 so easily. Because let's just have a quick squiz at what the Titans draw is. Okay, so it's not... Okay, so actually... oh, no, that's... No. Yeah, okay, I was looking at season last year, and I was like, holy shit, that's a pretty good start. But no, it's still pretty good. I mean, this is what also is, like, a bit frightening. Oh, man, it's gonna be... If he's fit for round 1, I gotta be honest, it's gonna be hard not, but it's very tricky. So the Dragons in round 1 is... such a good matchup. Then the bye, which is just that annoyance, because you know, there's every opportunity that if he is carrying that injury still, or he's not completely fit, do they just rest him for round 1, bring him back for round 3? I guess that would make it a lot easier for people, just you wouldn't have to go him. I'm hoping he does play round 1, because then it just throws a spanner in the works. Like, you'll get a bunch of people going for feeder, you'll get a bunch of people not going for feeder, and it could really impact the start of the season for the people that either did or didn't. But we'll see. But then he's got the Dogs in 3, Dolphins in 4, Cowboys, Raiders, Manly, Warriors. That's a pretty good draw. That's a pretty good draw for Fafita. But you sort of have to factor in again, if you're going for feeder, you're sort of sacrificing probably 2 of the good, and good is an understatement. They potentially are very good mid-range options. So I think if there weren't so many great options, and Fafita start it, and he's primed to start round 1. He is a guy I probably would pay up for, but I think this year with some of the potential guys coming up, the value is just so hard to pass up early in the season. So at the moment, I'm still leaning towards fading Fafita, but the draw is good. Other than that, buy. Then we have Jermaine Hopgood, who I honestly, I'm not even gonna touch him at the start of the year. Like, he obviously was sensational last year. What did he start, like 300k? He wasn't a cheapie, but he was sensational, and everyone had him. He started with a couple of tons. He played massive minutes. But the issue was, even last year, like when they had their players coming back from injury, his minutes would reduce, and they did. But then there was another Eel player or Eel forward that would get an injury, and then Hopgood would play massive minutes again. Now this year, I mean, all things going well, like, they have a really stacked forward pack, and he's not going to play 70 plus. Like, he just won't. Unless there's HIAs, unless there's injuries, he's just not going to play 70 plus. He'll be a really solid option, but at 750, I think that's a little bit overs for potentially the role of Hopgood. But I could be mistaken. I don't know. Maybe he does plug him at lock and just play him for the majority. But I don't know. They got too many. Like, yeah, there's too many. Like, do they stick with obviously Lane's on one edge? This Cartwright probably should stick on the other. Then you have Madison, who will either start or come off the bench. So that might put Hopgood to the bench. So, yeah, it's a no-brainer not starting. Britton Nikora. Now, Nikora was sensational last year. He sort of came from the clouds, because a couple of years... Obviously, when he was a rookie, he was one of the, like, rookies of the year. He was a cheapie of the year. He was sensational. You could plug in, I think was he centre wing, second row from memory? Maybe not, maybe just second row, I can't remember. And then the next year, he was priced expensive, and he sort of underwhelmed. You know, he didn't really take his game to the next level. He was still okay, but he definitely didn't set the house on fire. So then last year, like, no one really started Nikora, and then he just killed it. Like, he scored a lot of tries. He had so many line breaks. He was out of control with his attacking stats. The base still wasn't great, but his attack was fantastic. I think the Sharks will be really good in attack, without doubt. Because, yeah, if we look... Okay, he didn't start the best against the Bunnies, but then 92, 81, 98, and then he had a 54, 84, 87. Like, he was consistently going big. Again, looking at him, he doesn't have that high ceiling of potentially other guys, just because I think, I don't know, his base, he never takes, like, 15 to 20 runs. He's more that 10 runs a game guy. And then, you know, he'll get a line break and a try at times, or he'll get a line break and a try assist, or something like that to bump up his stats. But he's never like 20 runs, couple of line break. Like, he's not getting those 110, 120 scores, which, again, like, it's not a deal breaker, but there's other guys with sort of the same upside as a Nikora for way less. So again, it's just, I don't know how you could start Nikora with some of the guys that we'll be talking about. Isaiah Yeo, the guy that no one ever gets, and then after like every season looking back, you're like, wow, Isaiah was like just really solid for the whole year. And he was again. I actually think this is probably last year was one of his best too. He seemed to score some bigger totals. Again, no big ones, like a 91, obviously an 80's good, 87, 83. It's good, but yeah, again, he's as solid as they come. What's his lowest score? 43 is his lowest score. I mean, that's sensational. But yeah, again, for the value, I just don't think it's there. Hamoli Olakawatu. Now, he's coming in at a hefty 700k, which is, I gotta be honest, obscene, because he was not like he was okay for the whole year, and then the last round, it might have been the last, I can't remember what he got the week before, but I know the last game he got like 150 or something ridiculous. Because if you look at his score, how did he go? He was like just pretty underwhelming, right? Like 52, 60, 71, 74. He had a good little run there, but then 50s, 80, a couple of 66. Then he had a few lower games bumped in there. He's like, I guess similar to Isaiah, just a little bit more fluctuations. Like he had a couple of lower ones and then a couple of higher ones sprinkled in, and then yeah, so he went from, bro, he would have been like mid 600s, probably lower potentially, but he's gone 88 then 177. He's coming in at like a well overpriced. I mean, I think Olakawatu, he could become like, he's on the level of Fafita for sure, but he just, I don't know, last year I was a little bit underwhelmed by him. Like he just has the, you just watch some of his runs and he like fucking, like they can't tackle him, and then Manly don't use him well for the rest of the game. Like you know, one of these years he is gonna be the best. I think he'll have a consistent year. He'll score fucking plenty of tries and he'll be one of the tops without doubt. But is it this year? Hard to pick him. Paddy Carrigan at again almost 700k, very expensive. Pat Carrigan, I mean, honestly, similar to Isaiah. I'm not going to look at his scores, but they'd be pretty similar. I don't necessarily think with Flegler gone, Carrigan's going to take on more responsibility. I think he's going to do what he did the last year. I think he's going to be very good, but I wouldn't be that keen on him. Tohu Harris is a bit of a disappointing one because he's only 2RF this year. He's usually dual 2RF front row forward, so he's usually a great pickup in the front row at some point, but at 2RF only, again, I mean, Harris he's so rock solid if he's fit and he just keeps on trucking, but at just 2RF again to start the year, I just think a little bit overpriced. I think Harris is a guy you can pick up around that origin period as a really good option, depending how he's going, obviously. But I think starting the year with him, yeah, I think a lot of the Warriors players you'll look at and be like, well, they had a great year. They could go better. They could keep up the same level, but it is easy to be like, I think maybe, I don't think they're going to be worse this year by any means, but I do think potentially their scores might all reflect a little decrease, if I'm being honest. Scotty Sorensen actually, and the next guy, are two guys that are around this sort of, because if going quickly, any of these premiums, I'm not that interested in. I mean, Fafita is the one guy, depending what happens with cheapies, depends what happens with like how he's tracking. He is the one guy out of all the real top line guys that I'm like, yeah, I would pay the big bucks for, because he's the guy that's gonna fucking blow another guy out of the water. Another guy could get 70, and that's a great score. Like, that's bloody great for a forward. Fafita could go 120 and blow that score out. So he is the probably one guy out of the top echelon that I'm like, I could see myself paying up for. Scott Sorensen, he was fantastic last year. He did play like well, obviously he played quite a few games where he didn't play the full 80 because of guys like, I mean, Luke Garner was there, Zach Hosking was there, so it was always like you could never really go Sorensen because in the back of your mind was always like, well, is he gonna keep up like this edge spot? But I think he's locked in there. Like he's been sensational for them. Luai's last year at the Panthers, I think Sorensen, I don't know his ownership obviously yet. I think, yeah, the full NRL Supercoach has been released to the public, I think, by the time I'm doing this, but I don't see the ownership stats, which is fine. But I think Sorensen could be like he could be a super pod, honestly. If we look at their what's it called? Their draw. So how do you go last year? So he didn't start the year. I honestly don't remember. Did he get? He must have got injured in that game against the Bronx because he only played 25 minutes and then missed the next couple of games, and then yeah, maybe not. Like he consistent, pretty good. Like he does have good base stats. I mean, the ceiling, it's a bit of an outlier. He cracked a fucking ton twice. The fucking Roosters, bro. He got 100. That was his only other 100 against the Roosters. Then 175. I mean, but then that was in 59 minutes. Like a lot of these, like, man, 55 and fucking 30 minutes, 77 and 68, 78 and 52, 49 and 43, 47 and 68. 53 and 60. Like, he wasn't playing 80. The games he played 80, he was pretty good apart from the Cows there. 46 against Melbourne. Like, so obviously no Zach Hosking on the bench, but I guess Luke Garner's still going to be there potentially. I don't know. He could be a super pod to start. They do have a pretty tough start to the season, though. I don't know. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I gotta be honest, I wouldn't be opposed to Scotty Sorensen as an absolute, because I think he will be a super pod. I don't think people are gonna go him, but I just want to see what their bench looks like. Because if they do have like a specialist second rower, if they do have Luke Garner on the bench, I think it's a no, just because there is every likelihood that he gets subbed off. But man, if he's playing 80 minutes, like, his work rate is insane. And fucking Luai just passes him the ball. He doesn't go out the back at all. He just hits Sorensen. He hits him over and over and over again. So it's not a bad little matchup. And then the next guy here, Elias Katoa. Oh, I really like Katoa. I mean, he was great last year, albeit a couple of few games missed with injury, and then that had that eye issue which fucking stuffed me around. But my man was an absolute weapon. Like, he was so good. At times he was bloody unstoppable. He finished the year in scintillating fashion. Granted, against not the best teams, Raiders, Dragons, and the Gold Coast, but outside of Jerome Hughes, he creates so much space. They do have Panthers in round 1, then the Warriors, Newcastle, Bronx, Dogs. It's not the worst, but I do like Katoa. Again, he is up in price, so it's hard to justify going at this price when you know the value in the second row. But I think, again, I'm probably still leaning towards fading him to start the year. I think without doubt, Katoa is going to come into the team at some point. Well, maybe. You never know. But I do like him. Nat Butcher, not keen. Just, I mean, who knows what's happening there with the Roosters. They got so many potential guys in the back row, which we'll get to a couple of them in a second. Cameron Murray at 640k. I recall last year he started sensationally. He started like an absolute house on fire, playing big minutes. Yeah, 84. I mean, 40 against Penrith in 60 minutes. That's fine. Like, it's Penrith. 61, 60, 88, 85. Played massive minutes. And then, again, 46, 50. He just had, I mean, a low one there, obviously, injury. But he had, I don't know, he had too many lower scores. I mean, he finished well, 76, 78, 72, 48, 74, 92. Like, he's pretty cheap. He's pretty cheap to start the year. And they got Manly, Bronx, Roosters, Bulldogs. Again, that you got to factor in the first game. They're playing in Vegas as well. So I don't fucking know, dude. I'm pretty wary about starting players that are going to America because, I mean, the travel... Then the travel back to play the second game, like, it's got to be a factor, right? I know they get like a longer turnaround, but it's still a factor and just different conditions. Like, I don't hate it, but again, I don't know. If I was going to take a punt, I'd probably rather go Eli Katoa, if I'm honest, because again, Eli Katoa is not going to play Origin as well, which I know is a long way down the track, but you're not really going to want to keep Murray over Origin, so... Katoa, if you start with him, you would probably be thinking you're holding him for the whole season. So I like Katoa probably more than Murray, and even taking a real punt on Scotty Sorensen, I don't hate. Cartwright, my absolute player of the year last year. I started with him at cheapy price. He was so fucking good. He just kept delivering. I'm not going to touch him at all this year. Unless he like starts on the bench and he gets cheap and then you pick him up. But oh man, Cartwright, you absolute fucking beaut. He was so good for me. Oh, he stayed on my team legit the whole year and just did not. He honestly didn't let me down the whole season. So a big spot there for Brycey Cartwright, but he's not going to be in the team this year. Ryan Madison, likewise, like he might start, he might be on the bench, but yeah. Horsburgh, again, he's only 2 RF this year. Again, he was dual last year, which again negates a lot of his viability. Also, he's missing like the first 4 games. So yeah, no go there. Keon Koloamatangi, man. Not so much a fall from Koloamatangi, but he was definitely up at the top of the pecking order to start the year. Because what did he get up to? He got up to like 750. He started really well. He obviously had that injury. He had a ton in there, but then, yeah, just some disappointing scores. I guess that was pretty much the Rabbitohs as a whole, right? Like, they sort of just fell off a cliff, and Koloamatangi, unfortunately, was on the wrong end of that. I guess you gotta... Yeah, he finished at 500k, but he's starting... How's he so expensive? How is he starting so... I know the... Is that right? What did like a Cameron Murray finish on? So he's 640 now. I know the price is different because the salary cap is increased, but... Who is this? Cameron Murray, 640k. Where the hell's the previous fucking year? It just like finished, or not finished, but it disappeared. What the hell happened? Am I losing it? What happened? So, was I looking at the 2020? Am I losing my mind? Was I looking at the 2023 stats previously? Because it wasn't there for Murray. So he finished. Yeah, he was like 624k. If we go back to Koloamatangi, So that's the upcoming. Again, why has it disappeared? what has happened? Was it always like, am I actually losing it? Fucking, so 2023. No, that's right. That's right. Kalamatangi. How the hell is he so expensive? What happened? Are these dude, am I losing it? Are these prices not correct? Am I going crazy right now? I need to go out of this and go to like, because if the prices are all fucking wrong, is that actually what has happened? He finished. Is that him? Am I losing it? So Keon Kalamatangi, he's a 620k, 626, but last year he finished on like a tick under 500k. How's he starting so expensive? What the hell? Because if you look at anyone else, I mean, I feel like this is correct, right? Is it not? Let's go back to Fafita for a second. For some reason, again, the 2023, I was definitely looking at the 2023, but let's look. So 2023, I'm stunned. I don't understand. I honestly, I'm very confused with the pricing. Am I going crazy right now? So for Feeder, he's at 830, but he finished a tick under 700k. I mean, I know the increase, but then like, how does that explain Cameron Murray? Let's fucking go back to. Let's go back to here. Oh my god, if the prices are all different, I'm gonna actually lose my damn mind. Where the hell is the oh, there you go. 2RF. Yeah, no, the prices are right there. What is you know what? Fuck it. Maybe I've just lost my mind. Someone in the comments gonna just be like, what are you talking about? It makes sense. Maybe it does. I don't know. Am I going crazy? But fucking no. I'm looking at this once more. So Cameron Murray, he's 640k. What has happened? 640k. And he finished the year on 620. I know I mean, I know the last game affected it. Like obviously the last price rise isn't, like the last price rise or last price drop isn't reflective. I get that, but it doesn't add up. Because he scored 92 and he scored 74 and then 92, and he's only gone up like, 20k. I don't know what his break even was or whatever. But then if you look at Kalamatangi, he's only 20k less, right? 20k less, and he like fucking he went 49, 53, 52 and then 45. How the hell? Like, he was on the decline. He lost 22k. That 45, how is he? What has happened to his price? Someone in the comments surely can explain it. Maybe, I don't know. I'm legitimately like, what is happening? But that's fine. I'm not gonna look too much more into that. I could waste so much more time. Like I said, I like to fucking ramble. But the prices don't make sense. I don't know. If someone in the comments can explain it, I'm more than happy to listen. But it does. How is Kalamatangi gone from like 500k to 626 when he went terrible? Okay, well, if he was at like 550, man, he would be almost a lock in the team if I'm honest. But at 626, maybe not. Yeah, I don't know. That one's actually baffled me. I honestly don't know. Johnny Bayman, so he's got to buy round 1. Regardless, I wouldn't be going there. Jacob Preston. I mean, as good as he was last year, I just think second year syndrome. I don't necessarily think it's going to get Preston at all, if much at all. But still, 600k. There's another Bulldog second row I think is a much better value. Mitch Barnett, he's dual front row, second row forward. Not a huge fan. Teague Wilton was okay. Like, it just, again, I'm curious to see, what did he finish on? What did this motherfucker finish on? So 2023. So, dude, I've lost my mind. So yeah, Teague, I forgot about that, but yeah, he didn't play the back end of the season, which he had a 14, which obviously lowered his score, lowered his price at 533, but now he's up to 610. Again, I know that the salary cap increase, or the player's price increase, but that doesn't explain fucking Cameron Murray. Cameron Murray didn't like increase basically at all from his score. Okay, enough. I'm not gonna keep talking about it. I said I'm not. How long have we been going? Okay, 30 minutes. That's fine. We can push on a bit longer. I probably will be splitting this up into 2 videos, especially now that I've gone off on this tangent about the pricing. Because I gotta be honest, the pricing has thrown me. I've lost my mind. I don't know. I think this is the updated version. Like, the prices should be up to date. Like, I think. Imagine if all the prices are fucking different come game day. But I don't know, man. Cam McInnes, no. Lee Martin, anyone here? I gotta be honest, Jeremiah Nanai actually does interest me a lot, because I thought he was very disappointing to start the year. Then he had that injury, even though, I mean, he had a couple of scores, but yeah, a couple of real low scores. Then he had that injury off and on, missed a lot of games, and then he finished, like, it felt like when he came back from the injury, he was just, he was really good. Like, he was getting much more involved. Now, granted, well, the 36, he only played 42 minutes. And then the 40, he played 71. Yeah, he missed a lot of footy, but I don't know. I felt like there was a change in Jeremiah Nanai. Look at his fucking price. He was at 600. What? I'm so fucking confused. Then, he finishes 600k. He's now 580. I don't know, dude. I don't fucking know. Am I actually reading this completely wrong? 2023 season stats. Like, this is what he did last year and his price. Right? Right? So you can see there, he finished on 600k. He lost 58k. So, yeah, he went back from last year. Fuck the pricing, man. But Nano, I think Nano, again, could be a really good pod to start the year. I don't see the Cowboys. I see the Cowboys performing good to start. Like, they were so bad at the start of last year, and they just couldn't get the momentum back. So surely they start well. I just can't see them not starting well, and I think Nanai is a big part of that. But he's got the low scores in him, which is always a little bit of a danger with Nanai. Jack DeBellin, we talked about in the front row forward. I actually don't mind him in the front row, but obviously not second row. Anyone else of interest? I mean, Hudson Young, no. I don't know. I felt like he might turn into, again, one of these top line second rowers, but I don't know. He's got the game for it, but for whatever reason, I don't know if it's his base stats or just not. No, he does it. He gets tries, he gets line breaks, but must be the base just consistently. Isaiah Papali'i, obviously with the bye, but again at 570, he could have been somewhat tempting, I guess. He didn't have a great year last year. It always felt like he was eventually going to not get back to his Eels days, but sort of get back into a little bit more form, but didn't really come. Who else is tempting? So Luciano Leilua is potentially tempting as well, like Nenai. He's obviously a bit cheaper as well. Actually, no. I was going to say no, he's not tempting. Because Nenai is one edge. Luciano probably does get the other edge, but then you've got, like, Helam Lukey, is definitely going to be on the bench, and, like, he's a player. You got Cotter, you got Tamalolo. Lolo will start. Cotter will probably be in the front row, but then, yeah, Lukey's got to come on and play the edge, surely, or maybe through the middle. And then we got the young kid who was bloody terrific when he played. I'm blanking on the name. We'll see him come up pretty soon because I think his price would be okay. But yeah, Leilua, no, I'm not actually. I've just completely gone off him. He can score well, but not well enough, and just not what's the word I'm looking for? Locked in, I guess. Ruben Cotter we talked about in the front row. I'm actually very tempted on Cotter to start the year. Adam Elliott at 5.17. Okay, this one is very tempting, if I'm honest. A couple of years ago, Adam Elliott was sensational for me. He was just killing it at the Raiders when I picked him up. And last year, he just could not stay on the paddock with, I think, that hip injury. I think it was a hip pointer or something like that. He obviously played the first round and then missed a bunch of footy. He came back. He played 35 minutes, 42, 40. Like, his base is always incredible. But, again, he missed footy. Well, that was a bye. But then 38 minutes. He started playing a few more minutes. Then 32 minutes. Did he finish strong? He did finish strong. Like, 66, 75, 37 in, again, 44 minutes. Like, what happened there? Then 69 minutes and then 52 minutes. Like, see, his price is fucking, like, the same. Like, fucking, what is happening? What is happening with the price? I know I said I wasn't going to talk about it again, but he finished on 517k. He scored 70 in the 66, so you would expect him to potentially go up in price, right? Then you have to account for the inflation with the salary cap. But no, he's at 517 to start the season. He's gone down $200. What? How does that make any sense to fucking the other guys we looked at? Okay, enough of that. I must be making a fool of myself. There must be, like, such a simple answer to this that I'm just not picking up on. So that'll be embarrassing if there is. But I've dug myself too deep now to forget it. But I actually really like Adam Elliott. I actually really like him to potentially start the year. We're starting to get into these value picks. Who else is there? Zach Hosking. Well, he's at the Raiders, right? He's gone to the Raiders. That was confirmed, wasn't it? So, Zach Hosking, potentially a guy to look at, maybe? I don't know. Probably doesn't have the upside of a lot of other guys. And at the Raiders, you'd probably think, again, not much upside. But the base stats have always very good for Zach Hosking. Dylan Lucas is a guy people are pretty keen on. He's got the dual 2RF and center wing. We'll probably talk more about him in the center wing. Makes more sense. Then we're starting to get to the value guys. So I think that'll wrap it up for this video. We've been rambling enough, and then we'll do the rest of the pack in the second part. Again, I'm losing at the pricing. Off camera, I'm definitely going to look more into it, and then if I find something in the next part, I'll probably be like, okay, I made a big mistake, and this is what happened. But if not, I don't know. I don't know. Someone in the comments surely has an answer for me. Let me know what the hell is going on with the pricing compared to last year. I don't know. I honestly don't know. But regardless, hopefully you guys are enjoying the Supercoach action. Make sure to like and comment, and I'll see you guys in the next part of the second row forward discussion.